Hi guys, Matthew here and welcome back again to my channel. Oh yes, laptops with Nvidia's latest RTX graphics cards are finally here, and this one in front of you, Asus ROG Strix Scar 2 edition, is one example of what you can expect from such machine, carrying the laptop version of the RTX 2070 graphics card with 8GB of GDDR6 video memory in combination with Intel's 8th gen 6-core CPU and 16GB of RAM. Right off the bat, I assume you're all interested in its gaming performance before all, so I will cut right to it. Although my first encounter with the RTX series was with a pretty beefy 2080 Ti desktop version, you can check that out in the right top corner if you missed out on it. I had my expectations in line considering that this is a RTX 2070 GPU in question, which is also a laptop version of its desktop brother, so it has a significantly lower base and boost GPU clocks, especially when comparing it back to the Mobile Pascal generation and its relation with its desktop counterpart, while it's also missing out on 7 RTX render units. Nevertheless, I was pretty impressed to see what kind of gaming performance output can this laptop with this GPU deliver, especially considering its rather compact form factor. As you can see here, you'll get high frame rate results in basically every AAA game with settings cranked all the way up. But not everything was hunky-dory. I've noticed some weird performance issues in some of the games where the GPU utilization was way down from the top end, roaming anywhere from 50 to 70%, and only 3D Mark and Battlefield 5 managed to fully utilize it, as you can see it here. Although it's not completely clear what's going on here, my first thought was that this is something BIOS or driver related, but then I got some feedback it could be the fact that the laptop in this configuration only comes with a single 16GB RAM stick, which means that it doesn't run in dual channel mode, which again means that you won't be able to fully take advantage of laptop's hardware potential, and nowadays missing out on a dual channel mode can in some scenarios result with a certain level of performance loss in terms of gaming. Of course, when trying to pack components as strong as ones found in this laptop, it can have some drawbacks in terms of thermal performance. The CPU temperature was roaming around 85 degrees Celsius, which is pretty high, but it seems that the chassis and its cooling can handle it easily, as I haven't experienced any thermal throttling. Even the area around the keyboard is reasonably warm to the touch. And that was with the Asus turbo profile for the laptop being set, as it brings in highest performance output, although it's pretty loud, uncomfortably loud to be more precise. The balance profile is a bit quieter, but still noticeable, while the silent profile tones everything down, and it's meant to be used in your everyday web browsing and document handling scenario. With all that said, you will definitely need a headset if you really want to immerse yourself into gameplay without being distracted. And you would want to immerse yourself because the screen which it has actually offers 144Hz refresh rate with a fast 3 millisecond response time. It carries an IPS panel which is of an okay performance, has good color accuracy, more than enough brightness, although it has some problems with color and brightness uniformity. As you've noticed by the test results, it has a Full HD 1080p resolution, which makes sense considering the high refresh rate feature, so it ended up as a perfect pair with this very capable GPU. This is why I generally speaking love having 1080p screens on a 15 or 17-inch gaming laptops, 1440p at most if paired with an even stronger GPU, cause you are pretty much guaranteed to get a very high frame rate performance output if the hardware configuration of such laptop is remotely stronger than your average example of a gaming laptop. Compared to the first generation of Asus Scar series, the chassis dimensions were more or less kept the same, it's just a tad narrower and taller with basically the same weight. It's overall a very compact chassis taking into consider what they've hardware-wise put into it. The design itself was revamped a bit, it's a slight evolution from the original. You can notice that around the screen area, where we now have a much thinner bezel with a fat chin that carries a webcam, reminding me of Dell's solution on their XPS lineup. The build quality is actually pretty decent, it feels really premium and sturdy. This brushed aluminum lid cover gives it that extra something, combined with the RGB LED lid ROG logo from before and a new RGB LED strip on the front, although I'm not that big of a fan of this new added camo texture on top of the carbon-like one around the keyboard, which is probably here just to follow up the Scar weapon theme of this laptop. As for the IOs and ports, it comes in with a nice lineup with one USB 3.1 Gen 2 Type-C, one USB 3.1 Gen 2 Type-A port, and a full-sized SD card reader on the right, while on the left we have a mini display port, HDMI 2.0, 3 USB 3.1 Gen 1 ports, combo audio jack, and a LAN port. On that same side you can also notice the AC plug, which is a better solution compared to it being on the right, although the best place for it would be on the back, but you can have it all. The power brick itself is expectedly big and bulky, it's a 230 watt one, and it's here to stay if you want to play games on a longer period, and you also need it to enable the laptop's full performance potential. If you plan to do any upgrades in the future, you can easily do that on this laptop. The whole bottom plate just comes off after you remove 11 screws, which takes a bit longer, and with doing that you'll get access to your regular interchangeable components, that being the RAM, M.2 SSD, 2.5-inch drive bay, and Wi-Fi card. The M.2 SSD drive, although an NVMe one, is unfortunately not blazingly fast, but at least they've put an SSHD as the larger storage option. Here you can also see the cooling solution and those fans which are making the noise, and they claim to hold down less dust than a conventional one. The whole cooling solution is pretty beefy, as you can see it here. There's a lot of heat pipes and heat sinks surrounding it, which is why it's able to keep everything under control temperature wise. Most importantly, here you can see the battery, which comes in at 66 watt hours of capacity, and it seems to be easily removable. With it, I got anywhere from 4 to 6 hours of, so to speak, regular use, web browsing and office environment, which is pretty decent. The speakers are side mounted and they're in my opinion average at best, considering that they are laptop speakers, so if you really want to be a part of the gameplay, you'll be better off with a headset or a dedicated speaker set. The trackpad is pretty good with this now sort of old school left and right dedicated mouse keys. Remember those? As for the keyboard, if you ask me, it's as standard as it can be for being a laptop one. It has a decent amount of spacing between the keys, travel distance is okay, it's good for typing on a longer run, and I like how they've offset the arrow keys for one row. They stick out a bit on the bottom, so it's easier to find them without looking directly at that spot. On the left side above the keyboard, there's an added row of keys for volume control, as well as a dedicated key for Asus Armoury Crate Control Center utility. Speaking of that, here you can control everything, the before mentioned performance and fan profiles, check temperature and clock speeds, everything else laptop configuration related, and of course change the effect and color of the RGB LEDs, or you can also toggle them using these hotkeys on the arrow keys. I just wish they toned down the pre-installed software. There's a bunch of things going on in the background, McAfee's antivirus utility being the most annoying one, prompting you every so often to get their subscription. Come on guys, please leave me alone, I don't want it. All in all, when you draw the line, this is a very solid gaming laptop, but as I said, be sure to pick out the right configuration for yourself, as I think you can get a better value deal with choosing the RTX 2060 without compromising that much performance, or maybe even the last gen GTX one, as they are still in offer, even with this new ROG Strix Car Edition model, that being the GTX 1070 and 1060 models. Maybe you can get a good price for them, or one that makes even more sense when it comes to value for money. Also, by what we saw here, try to avoid getting the model with a single RAM stick configuration, or if you're still going to buy it anyway, at least be sure to buy yourself another RAM stick to fill out that second slot, so you will enable and get that dual channel mode. That's it for this time from me. Thank you for watching. Toss me a thumbs up if you enjoyed my content, that really helps me a lot. And if you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe, and if you already are, be sure to press that notification bell down below so you don't miss out on a new video. And until then, catch you later guys.